What's good, Tamers? This is Akaro from Lockout Games, bringing you another exciting match from Chaos Games in Minot, North Dakota. On the left, we have Machinedramon slash Chaosdramon, and on the right, we have Mother D Reaper. Let's get into it and see how it goes. Starting off their turn, the Chaosdramon player is going to hatch Paguramon in the back row, and then they're going to go into a Haguramon. That's a 2-drop version. You normally want to play that onto the field for cheap cost, but it looks like they're going to pass the turn, not having a champion, and Mother D Reaper is going to go ahead and hatch in the back row, setting up a future turn with Jerry. This is going to be really strong, as on their next turn, they're going to be able to get 2 searchers underneath the Mother D Reaper, and that's going to be really good. But it seems like the Chaosdramon player top-decked a Chaosdramon, so 2 to Digivolve into, going to use that memory efficiently, and then go into a Metal Greymon. It's not actually able to pop the Jerry because it is 5,000 DP, so that's going to live and really help out the Mother D Reaper player, as now they're going to be able to put 2 searchers underneath of it on their second turn. We do see that happening right now. And then the Jerry activating, now it's going to be able to look at the top 5, grab a searcher, and grab a D Reaper card from off the top of their deck. So they're really getting a lot of use out of that just right off the bat. And then they're going to go into a yellow Tai Camilla for 3. This is going to be really good, as it's going to set them up to be able to play a lot of good yellow removal, the best one being Spiral Masquerade. And right on cue, that's going to be the Spiral Masquerade hitting the field. It's going to take out the Metal Greymon, as the D Reaper player does have 3 Digimon on the field. So we're going to resolve the Pagumon effect, and it looks like it was not a black Digimon, so that's not going to go to hand. The Chaosdramon player is going to draw and hatch into a Pagumon in the back row, and then looking to see what they Digivolve on top of that. And it seems like they're just going to play a Chaosdramon right onto the field, so that's going to keep the other Digimon for the D Reaper from able to just swinging in freely. But they are going to get boosted up. We do see the Jerry effect taking play right now, so they're going to look at the top 5 again, and looks like they found a searcher, which is not a huge surprise, as D Reapers tend to play 16 to 20 searchers. And then Bubbles is going to swing in, so it is currently at 6,000, so it is going to trade with a Chaosdramon, but that advantage is going to be on the D Reaper player side of the field, as clearing the board and buying as much time as possible is going to be super beneficial. And then we see another tie hitting the field right now. So going over to the Chaosdramon player, it looks like they might be a little bit stuck, and we do see them playing down a Metal Mamemon, so that's not a good look. They do pass over 5 memory, so going over to the D Reaper player side, they're going to activate Jerry, and then they're going to play a Pendulum Feat. So this is going to let them look and search through their deck for more D Reapers that they need. And they go ahead and grab the Jerry from that search, so now they're in a very powerful position with 4 Digimon on the field right now, one of them being the Mother D Reaper that already has a few stacks underneath of it, and now we see another Spiral Masquerade. So they forget to activate the tie that would actually leave the Chaosdramon player at 2. But this was just a practice match, so we are learning how to use the decks. And we do see a Haguramon in the back row, and then an Analog Youth that's going to grab the Tankdramon, and that's going to be good, letting them go up into a champion, and finally getting a decent stack underneath another one of their Digimons after they've pretty much been reset this whole game. And then we see a Kazu Shiota playing onto the field. This card is an awesome addition, as every single Digimon is going to be a cyborg or a machine, so you're going to get that +1, and it really does help cycle through a lot of the cards that you don't need. So we do see Jerry being used on the D Reaper side of the field twice, and that's just really going to accelerate what the deck is able to do, getting up into the Reaper eventually and swinging a whole bunch of times. But we do see Pendulum Feat swing in, and it is going to have a lot of power, because there are at least 5 cards underneath the Mother D Reaper, and all it hits is just a Chumon, so it was going to survive anyway. But now the D Reaper player is actually able to go on the offensive, as most of the Digimon are going to be in the 8,000 to 9,000 range. And speaking of 9,000, an Optimizer hits the field. So with 5 Digivolution sources underneath Mother D Reaper, its effect is going to be activated every time it swings, pretty much playing any extra Digimon and really putting the D Reaper player in a almost insurmountable lead at this point. We do see the EX01 Metal Greymon being Digivolved on top of the Tankdramon, and right now it's not going to be able to do a whole bunch. Even swinging in, it can only really get rid of a couple Digimon, so this was actually a misplay. Metal Greymon's ability only triggers when you actually attack a player and not a Digimon, so that searcher would not have been deleted. Kazu still would have been activated, so we do see that being suspended, and they're going to draw 1 card and get rid of another one. It's actually a very purple effect, but it is really welcome in blue, as they're able to search and get cards that they need. And we do see them discarding what looks to be a Machinedramon, and then following up with an Ultimate Connection. Once again, this card is very good in this deck, getting rid of the SR Metal Greymon and putting that into the trash while drawing a card and gaining a memory. And then we see Crimson Plays coming out, so that's going to be very useful, as there's 4 Digimon on the field, so it's going to reduce the cost by that much, and it's going to wipe out anything with 6,000 or less DP. So it's pretty much going to wipe out the field, only leaving Mother D Reaper, as she's not affected, and the Optimizer itself. So passing over the turn, that's going to leave the D-Reaper player with 1. They are going to use the Mother D-Reaper's effect to get another searcher underneath of it, and now this is the point where D-Reaper is just insanely scary, as once they get the Reaper card out on the field, and they're going to be able to swing what feels like 6 to 9 times and just obliterate their opponent's security. So the Chaosdramon player really needs to get something going right now, as they're not going to be able to live if this keeps going on. And we do see another Pendulum Feet hitting the field. This is also going to be able to attack in at least once, but it's most likely going to survive because now it's topping over 9,000 DP. And we do see another Searcher hitting the field. So right now, the D-Reaper player has just been in such a strong position this whole game, and I'm not sure if the Chaosdramon player will be able to keep up, but we do see a Pagumon being hatched and then going into a Toy Agumon, giving it reboot, and then a Tankmon going over that. They have 2 memory right now, but I'm not sure they're going to be able to really have any lasting effects right now because they're going to have to Digivolve in the back row, and they go into the Metal Tyrannomon, passing over 1 memory. But at this point, the D-Reaper player is super efficient with what they use because they can play a D-Reaper for free with all the sources that are underneath the D-Reaper again. And with saying that, they absorb 1 more Searcher from the field. That's going to let them play another one for 1 and then draw a card. And we do see Optimizer going in, getting its effect because there were well over 5 cards underneath the D-Reaper right now. And they're going to play a Jerry, which is just going to speed this up more. And swinging in, it's over 10,000 DP right now. We do see the Pendulum Feet swinging in right now, hitting a 7k Digimon, but it just does not matter. And at this point, the D-Reaper player is on full offense right now. All of their Digimon are almost mega level in DP at the moment, and they're able to just swing in. And then we see the Gatekeeper hitting the field. So that's really just going to lock down the Chaosdramon player. They're going to have security -1 on everything. All of the D-Reaper players' Digimon are super strong, and I'm not sure if they can actually deal with this right now, but they are going to promote the Metal Tyrannomon and then go into the SEC Machinedramon. So it's not going to be able to be reduced -DP, but at this point it can lose in battle even when it blocks, and it doesn't have many level 5s underneath it. It is going to swing into the Optimizer to get rid of that, as now that it's the Machinedramon player's turn, it is going to have a lot less DP, and it's going to be able to take care of that. Drawing with the Kazu and then discarding a card, and then we do see the Chaosdramon being played, so it's going to Digivolve for 1, leaving the D-Reaper player at 1, being able to put another level 5 Digimon underneath of it, and we do see the Metal Greymon from this newest set coming out, allowing it to attack an opponent's Digimon with it being unsuspended, but that might not be enough at this point because the D-Reaper has over 7 Digivolution sources, and anything that swings in is just going to be really strong. So this is kind of interesting. We are looking to see a Reaper come out, but instead an Optimizer, so they might not have drawn it. Going through the deck, it looks like we're going to pull out a Horn Striker. So this is actually going to have Rush and be able to attack this turn with an obnoxious amount of DP. So it's just going to blast through the security. And then we see Gatekeeper swinging in. None of the DP actually being high enough to get rid of any of these Digimon. And then finishing the turn with a 3-drop Searcher, drawing them a card. And that actually would have only cost 1 because there wasn't a Searcher on the field at all, but we do see a Sunamon being Digivolved in the back row, an Ultimate Connection bringing the Chaosdramon player up until 5. They are able to swing in at the D-Reaper if they wish, but at this point it's not going to be strong enough to do anything because there's nothing boosting it. So their options at this point are pretty limited, as well as there's a Gatekeeper on the field that's actually giving it -1 security, so they do swing into the Gatekeeper to get rid of that. Honestly, this game is pretty much over at this point, as there's really no way for the Chaosdramon to clear the board of all the Digimon that are going to be able to swing in. So they're going to pass the turn having a little bit of fun and hard playing that Machinedramon from EX01 that's going to be able to put 5 Digimon underneath of it and get the effect. They're going to be able to block 1 Digimon, but other than that, this game is pretty much over, solidly in the D-Reaper's favor. But this is a really good example of how the D-Reaper can get a few turns and really start to spiral out of control, no pun intended with the Spiral Masquerade, able to control the board and get the Digimon onto the field that it needs for a super cheap cost once the Mother D-Reaper gets all of the Searchers underneath it. And we do see at this point the Reaper hitting the field just to get the effect, and we're both learning the different decks, so making sure we're going through the cards and getting the effects right. But at this point, Reaper's going to be able to swing in for pretty much game by itself, blasting past the Machinedramon, blocking it as you're able to get rid of the Searchers out of your trash to restand it. And if you haven't already, go ahead and hit that like and subscribe button below, turning on all the notifications so that we can get you these videos every time that they're posted. And it looks like game number 1 is coming to an end, so let's go ahead and take a look at game number 2. Starting off game number 2 is going to be a Chaosdramon player. They're going to hatch a Pagumon in the back row and then go into the 2-drop Hagurumon from there, digivolving that into the Guardramon. So actually having a champion at the beginning of the game this turn is going to help them out as they're going to be able to go up the line. We do see Mother D-Reaper being hatched in the back row and then a Searcher being played for 1, passing the turn over to the Chaosdramon player from there. Looks like they're going to digivolve into the Andromon from there, and at this point I wouldn't recommend using the effect as you have a really good chance of bottom decking your tamers that you need for later. So they're just going to pass the turn over to the D-Reaper player, which is going to put the Searcher underneath that Mother D-Reaper and start building their board from here. Looks like they're deciding on something, and they're playing down a Pallades head. So this is a little bit early. It's not going to be able to take out a whole bunch of Digimon that are going to be really level 5 and over, but it is going to be able to have some effect on the board later on in the game. And we do see the Machinedramon being digivolved on top of the Andromon, so now it does have blocker, and it's going to be able to draw cards when it does swing in, but they decide to go straight into the Chaosdramon from here. That's going to wipe out the Pallades head and actually get them 1 memory because they're going to put the SR Metal Greymon underneath of that, which gets 1 memory every time one of your opponent's Digimon is destroyed once per turn. I really like this combo as it helps you extend your turn, bringing you back to 0 memory normally when you digivolve into the Chaosdramon. And now we can see that they're able to swing in and activating the effects of Guardramon. It looks like they're going to hit a tie in security, so that's going to help out the D-Reaper player a lot as they're going to have that source for yellow. And we do see that they do have the Spiral Masquerade in hand. One of the weaknesses of Chaosdramon digivolving up from the Machinedramon is that it is actually able to be taken down with minus DP effects. But we do see a Gatekeeper being slammed onto the field right now. Not looking like the best choice, but it seems like that's all they have. Looking in their hand, it looks like they have a couple Spiral Masquerades and another Gatekeeper, as well as an Optimizer. So the D-Reaper player not having the best stuff in hand to deal with what's on the board, but they were able to gain a security, so that might help them out in the long run. So the Chaosdramon player is going to play a hero to reset their memory every turn now, and an Analog Youth, utilizing a lot of that memory that they were given by the D-Reaper player, and grabbing a Chumon off of the Analog Youth. So right now they're in a good position to start attacking, as they have 1 strong Digimon and a good backfield set up to where they are going to be able to boost up their other Digimon. And we do see that happening, Chaosdramon swinging in, and the hero boosting up the Tankmon by 2,000 with its effect. Swinging in, it's just going to hit a Pendulum Feat, so it's not going to die, and also cycling cards out with that Guardramon that's underneath the Chaosdramon right now. From here, Tankdramon's going to digivolve into Megadramon, and this is going to start setting up a lot of pressure. Once it's digivolved on top of, it's going to be able to take 2 checks from the security each time it swings, and this is really going to start putting the Mother D-Reaper player on some sort of clock. We do see Machinedramon being digivolved on top of this. This is going to give it blocker as well, so it's going to be able to play offense and defense pretty well right now. So the turn passes over to the Mother D-Reaper player with 3 memory, and with playing Pendulum Feat, this is really going to help them. Getting another Searcher underneath the Mother D-Reaper is really going to help power up all of their other Digimon, and it forces a nice interaction. If Gatekeeper swings in at the Chaosdramon, it would trade, or they would have to block him with Machinedramon and pretty much sacrifice that to keep the Chaosdramon alive. I think a trade like that would help reset the pace of the game, and this point is going to be, I think, a critical point in the match. They play another Pendulum Feat. It is nice because you're going to be able to get a Searcher into your hand pretty early, but you leave 2 pretty powerful Digimon on the field. And in my experience, Chaosdramon likes when it can start running away with all the effects that it has underneath of it. So we're going to see a Pagurumon hatched in the back row, and then a Hagurumon digivolved on top of that, right before Chaosdramon swings in, using Guardramon's ability to start cycling cards. And this deck is really good at doing that. Once it starts getting Digimon on the field, it's able to cycle through all the stuff that it needs, as well as having a lot of draw power. So looking at the security, a Horn Striker was hit. That's going to leave the Chaosdramon alive, and then the Machinedramon is going to swing in, activating Hero to give it a bonus. So now it's swinging in at 13k, checking 2, and we do see some pretty useful cards going into the trash at that point, leaving the D-Reaper player with 1 security left, digivolving into a Tankmon in the back row, setting up lethal pretty much, and then just hard playing a Machinedramon. With this board right now, I think the best option for the D-Reaper player was some combination of Spiral Masquerade and then attacking in, trying to clean up the board as much as possible. The biggest roadblock is going to be that Machinedramon that's not affected by any minus DP effects. So we do see a Searcher going underneath the Mother D-Reaper. This is going to boost up all the other Digimon. So looking at their hand, they do seem to have a Spiral Masquerade, and they actually have 2, so there might be a play where you Spiral Masquerade, swinging with Pendulum Feat, which is going to be at 6k. Machinedramon's going to block one of them, but then your other 2 Digimon can clean up the Chaosdramon and the Machinedramon. They go with the Bubbles play, and that's going to place another Searcher underneath the Mother D-Reaper, so it's actually going to make everything stronger. And then they are going to play Spiral Masquerade from that. So they have a lot of minus DP that they can put on the field, essentially making everything else super weak, but showing them the Machinedramon and the ability where it can't have its DP reduced. They're going to have to only choose from the Chaosdramon and the Machinedramon, and it looks like they're going to fully get rid of the Chaosdramon right now, triggering the Pagumon ability. So they're going to look at the top card. It's going to be a Haguramon, and that's going to go into their hand. And right now, that top Machinedramon should also be minus 3000 DP, as there was more than enough Digimon on the field, with Spiral Masquerade being used, to be able to get rid of the Chaosdramon and weaken the Machinedramon. It looks like they're ready to attack, and they're going to lead off with the Gatekeeper. This is going to swing into the Machinedramon that is currently suspended right now, and let's see if they decide they want to block with the other Machinedramon. They are going to. It is going to be able to live by getting rid of 2 level 5s underneath of it, but now the lane is open for their other Digimon to swing in. Now this is where I think splitting up the effect of the last Spiral Masquerade could have changed the game just a little bit, as if they just reduced the Chaosdramon instead of getting rid of it completely, they could have also used more DP reduction on the other Machinedramon, and that way all the Pendulum Feats would be able to swing in and kill it. And here we're just catching up with the effects of Tai, as this is just a training match, so we forgot to get the +1 memory when Chaosdramon was deleted. Both Pendulum Feet are going to swing in, and both of them are going to actually hit Metal Greymon, so that's going to delete the pair of them, as they are only at 7,000 right now. And then we see a Pallades head coming down onto the field that's going to pass the turn over to the Machinedramon player with 4, and they're going to have 3 Digimon on the field that are going to be able to swing in and take out that last security. And looking at the cards that they have in the deck, I don't think that there is a solid out for the D-Reaper player at the moment. Even a Spiral Masquerade activating its effect is not going to be able to kill everything. And currently they're just 1 searcher short of Gatekeeper being activated, giving everything -1 security. So with 2 of them on the board, that would actually keep them alive if they had that ability, but they're going to Digivolve into the Chaosdramon that's going to wipe out both the Pallades head and the Bubbles, gaining them 2 memory from each Metal Greymon that's underneath them. So now we're going to see that Chaosdramon swinging in, and it reveals a searcher, and then they're going to finish off the game. So with game number 2 in the books, let's go on to game number 3. Starting off game 3, we have Mother D-Reaper being hatched in the back, and then we're going to see a Jerry being played for 5. Now, I think this is a great start for the D-Reaper deck, and I think going first should be your choice if you have the option. You're able to set up a strong board presence, and by your second turn, you're going to have 2 searchers underneath your D-Reaper. Over on the Chaosdramon player side of the field, we do see a Pagumon being hatched, and then Digivolving that into a Haguramon, then a Haguramon from the Classic Collection being played onto the field, a Guardramon being Digivolved in the back row, and then finally finishing off the turn with a Tankdramon. So 2 champions, but they're going to have to start acting very fast, otherwise D-Reaper is going to spin out of control. Right now, due to Jerry's effect and its own effect, it does have 2 searchers underneath of it, and then we're going to see a Pendulum Feat going to hit the field. This is going to let him look at the top 3, and those last looks have shown a lot of searchers, so hopefully they don't send too many of them down to the bottom of the deck. Speaking of searchers, we see another one being played for 1 and drawing them another card, so it looks like they have a lot of the pieces that they need to start really getting going on the D-Reaper side of the field. Guardramon gets promoted from the back row, and then a Kazu is played. This is going to help a bit with the cycling and the memory for the Chaosmon player. Tankmon swings in, and that's going to take out the Jerry and also activate the Kazu, slowing down the D-Reaper player just a little bit, but that card just does way too much to be left on the field and not be taken care of. And to finish off their turn, they're going to play Haguramon, which is going to draw them some cards. In the back row, another Mother D-Reaper is hatched, and then they're going to use their ability from the D-Reaper that's on the field to absorb the searcher that was already there so that they can play another one from their hand for 1 memory and draw a card from it. At this point in the match, I think both players are even on the board. Pendulum Feat's going to swing in, and it's actually going to be at 6k right now, so it's looking like they're trying to decide if they want to block, but they decide to let the attack through, and it hits an ultimate connection, so this is going to give 2 memory to the Chaosdramon player side of the field, but it's not going to actually pass the turn, and Mother D-Reaper is really good at using memory efficiently, and we see another Pendulum Feat hitting the board that's going to look for another searcher and grab what looks like a Pallades head. Pagumon's hatched in the back row, and I'd say right now with this board setup, the next few plays are going to be vitally important for both players. A Chumon's hatched on the Pagumon in the back, and I don't think it's going to see much play against Mother D-Reaper, but they do go into an ultimate connection. This is going to get them 1 memory and let them draw a card after getting rid of a level 5, and they might be fishing for a certain card that they need or something specific, and I think that card was this Metal Greymon, so this is a really good card against this matchup, because it's going to let the level 6 Digimon swing directly into the Mother D-Reaper, and if they can get 15k or higher, it's just going to be something that can swing in every turn, get rid of the D-Reaper, and once it does that, the deck kind of falls apart as it doesn't have a great way of coming back from losing a Mother D-Reaper, especially if it had multiple sources underneath of her. So at this point, both players are pretty much in a race. If Mother D-Reaper can't get rid of the card that Digivolves on top of Metal Greymon, it's going to be able to get big enough to swing over. However, the Chaosdramon player still has to find the cards to make it that powerful, and if it can't, Mother D-Reaper can just keep playing its same strategy, flood the board, and eventually get to the Reaper and be able to swing multiple times and obliterate the security. Hagurumon swung in, and it's going to reveal a Gatekeeper, which is going to recovery 1 for the Mother D-Reaper, as well as set them up for later because there's almost 5 security sources underneath the Mother D-Reaper. But then Metal Greymon Digivolves into Machinedramon. So it is going to be able to attack its opponent's unsuspended Digimon, but it still needs to get a little bit more strength if it's going to be able to tackle on the D-Reaper. Pendulum Feet's going to swing in and take out the Tankmon now that it's at 7k, and then Gatekeeper's going to go ahead and swing in really strong right now, so it doesn't really have anything to worry about in the security. And it hits a Tankmon in the security, so it's going to live. I think swinging here was a good choice because Machinedramon's going to be able to swing into it anyway, and it wouldn't be safe if it was suspended or unsuspended. So you might as well get one security check out of it while it's still at 14k. Finishing off their turn, the D-Reaper player is going to play a tie, and that's going to give them access to all of their yellow options that they have in the deck in hopes of maybe getting rid of this Machinedramon eventually. So Chumon is Digivolved into a Tankmon, and now the Machinedramon player has the option of swinging in and taking out the Gatekeeper and the Pendulum Feet if they wanted to. Lady's Head would be able to swing back and take out Tankmon, or it would be able to go straight for the security, and it would put them pretty far behind because they would only have 2 to the D-Reaper's 5. So let's see what they go for. So it looks like they're going to swing into the Gatekeeper. This is going to be good as they're going to be able to take down that Digimon, and they're going to trigger the Guardramon underneath and the Kazu, which is going to let them draw cards and eventually find what they need to either boost up the Machinedramon so it's able to take down the Mother D-Reaper, or just find cards that can boost up security attacks so that they can catch up in the security battle. And looking at their hand right now, it seems that they actually have 2 heroes. Now that's going to be able to boost up the Machinedramon or the Chaosdramon if they have one to swing over the Mother D-Reaper, which is only at 15k and can't really get much stronger than that. The Chaosdramon player still has 2 memory left, and they haven't swung in with the Tankmon just yet, so let's see what they decide to go with. And it looks like they're going to Digivolve into a Chaosdramon, so that's actually going to take out both the Pendulum Feet and the Pallades Head, as they both only have 3000 DP right now, and Chaosdramon's going to have 2 level 5s underneath of it. This clears the lane and lets Tankmon swing into security, not having to worry about taking out any other Digimon, and is going to eventually catch them up in the security battle because it's still 3 to 5 right now. So we actually see the SR Metal Greymon going underneath the Chaosdramon, and that's going to gain them a memory for taking out another one of the Digimon on their opponent's side of the field. Being at 2 memory is going to let them play a 4-drop Tamer and not pass over too much memory to their opponent, but they are going to swing in with a Tankmon. It hits a bubble, both are at 6k, so the Tankmon is going to be deleted. And it looks like the effect actually whiffs, hitting a Megadramon, and that's going to go straight to the bottom of the deck as it isn't a black Digimon. And then we see Ultimate Connection hitting the field, so that's going to boost the Chaosdramon player up to 3, making this Tamer play super efficient, only leaving the Mother D-Reaper player with 1 memory for their turn, not giving him much. And at this point, the Mother D-Reaper player needs to get rid of Chaosdramon, otherwise they're essentially going to be locked out of the game. The Mother D-Reaper is just going to get swung on with 2 heroes boosting up the Chaosdramon each time, and they're not going to get any of the awesome effects that Mother D-Reaper gives when it has a whole bunch of Digivolution sources underneath. Looking at their hand, I don't see any direct removal. We do have a Pallades Head hitting the field and then a Searcher, but I don't think that this is going to be enough. Pagumon's going to be hatched in the back row, and then they're going to go up to 4 memory due to Kazu giving that +1. At this point, they're able to play a hero directly from hand and boost up Chaosdramon by 4k every time it swings. It can swing directly at the Mother D-Reaper, so I honestly don't see there being a huge out right now, because once that first D-Reaper dies, the second one will be able to be promoted, but there's not going to be any searchers underneath of it, so its effects aren't going to be stacking like they used to. And there we see the hero hit the field, and it should pretty much be it right here. Chaosdramon's going to swing into Mother D-Reaper, and then the hero is going to boost it up by 4k. Being able to attack your opponent's non-suspended Digimon isn't common in a lot of decks, however this is a really hard counter to Mother D-Reaper once the Digimon is able to swing over 15k, or sometimes even trade with it at 15k. The Chaosdramon player is going to continue their turn. Looks like they're going to play a Hagurumon from hand, drawing 2 cards and getting rid of a machine or a cyborg from their hand. But at this point, I don't see a lot of outs that are going to be in the Mother D-Reaper's deck that could really help them. Spiral Masquerade might be able to do it. They would have to get 4 Digimon on the field and then play the card so that they could do minus 12,000 DP to the Chaosdramon. And we do see a Searcher, so they're almost there. They just need 1 more Digimon, but the problem is once they play anything this turn, then Mother D-Reaper is going to get destroyed again with the Chaosdramon's ability to be able to attack it when it's unsuspended. The turn passes over to the Chaosdramon player, and they are going to start off with 4 this turn as they promote a Hagurumon, and Kazu is going to see both of those Digimon on the field, and then they're just going to go ahead and swing directly into the Mother D Reaper, boosting up the Chaosdramon by another 4k so that it takes it out without dying, and then gaining 1 memory because of the Metal Greymon that's underneath, swinging in with Hagurumon with 2k, and it's actually going to hit a Searcher, so it's going to survive, and they have a lot of memory to work with right now. And they're going to finish off their turn by playing a Machinedramon from hand. This is going to leave the Mother D Reaper player with 2 memory while they build their own custom level 6. The D Reaper player draws their card for the turn and is going to hatch a Mother D Reaper in the back. They do have 3 security, and they are able to swing in with both the Pallades head and the Pendulum feet, but the Machinedramon does actually have blocker, so it is going to eat up one of those Digimon's attacks. If they were left with 3 memory, they might be able to play down a Digimon and then go into a Spiral Masquerade, but we do see them scoop there, and that's going to be 2-1 in favor of Chaosdramon. If you enjoyed that match, please like the video and subscribe to the channel so you can get notified anytime I post new content. With BT-9 just around the corner, I can't wait to dig into all the X-Antibody cards and all the Ghost Game cards that are coming out with it. Well, until next time, let's get that gate closed.